Market was up yesterday, 0.3%, 37,992 points is where we closed. Back and forth we go. Up, down, up, down. Market cap is at 13.7 trillion naira. The year to date, the market is down by 1%. No, 0.7 actually, 0.7% down. 21 gainers, 21 losers. Lasako was the top gainer yesterday. Seplat was the top loser. Gentlemen, Nati, the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative has released a report over the last 3 years, 2015, 2016, 2017, of the operations of the NNPC. There's no surprise with the outcome, but we still have to report it to our listeners because this is what we do. This is why we're here, right? So, what's the amount here? 547 billion naira in operational losses for the NNPC over that 3 year period.
Yes.
No surprise, eh, Christian?
No, I actually think it's not as bad
as they're putting it out.
I mean, no, I think it's not too bad. 547, considering the amount of money that's been spent on subsidies.
Right,
rather.
right.
I'm not too surprised. What's rather disappointing is the utilization levels for the refineries. Over the period it's as low as 12.26%
for all three.
Yes.
Over Lagos over 3 years, yes. All three refineries 12.26%. Right.
That's abysmal. If you understand if you understand ratios, then you'd understand that it means that the company, the group, as a corporation, it cannot break even if you were to improve significantly, were to improve its efficiency levels significantly. At 12.26 means you are just using say for instance, it's a vehicle, it's a V6 engine. You're driving at 40 kilometers per hour for 3 years. So the rest of the engine is underutilized.
Right,
and then it breaks it down further to say that only the Nigerian gas company made a profit of 141 billion, which means if you take out the profits from this Nigerian gas company, we'll be looking at losses of close to 700 billion.
Right.
Assuming they hadn't made that profit, yes. It's quite disappointing that we're still running a corporation this huge and that it's making losses. There have been calls to break it up,
yes,
which I support. But also another thing that was mentioned is that the information hasn't been verified for 2016 and 2017, so it could be worse.
It could be worse, right.
It also could be better. And it also says that royalties and taxes haven't been factored into these losses. So maybe when they factor in royalties and taxes, it could improve. Yeah, it could improve the figure. Going forward, we're hoping that the PIB, Petroleum Industry Bill, would, when eventually it's passed, improve on, I don't know, the corporation's performance. Maybe. I think it's more of a sheer willpower. If the Minister of Petroleum,
yes,
and
who just happens to be okay.
No, yes, let's go on.
Let's move on past the hour. We know who that. Yeah.
If they both, I think come together and they can work together and actually decide on what to do with the NNPC, because right now it's a loss-making institution. And as far as I'm concerned, it's no good for us at this point as a nation.
Bola Arwa is also with us in the studio. Bola Arwa, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Anything you want to add to the NNPC figures?
Well, I think Christian has done justice to the story. It's a sad one that this vehicle continues to make losses year in, year out, and they're still running it the same way that we've been running it. This administration came in with a promise that something good was going to be done. I think when Kachuku was at the end of affairs, he started a good drive on changing the state of the company. I think one of the things he did when he was the MD of NNPC was to ensure that we got back the refineries working, though they are working really below capacity, but at least we've seen refineries work for some months or years since Kachuku got into that space. But the truth is, this is not sustainable. Taxpayers' money are used to subsidize or to run a vehicle that is loss-making. Something has to be done about this institution, and we need to do it very fast because this is really bleeding. Billions of naira is huge. If you convert it to dollars, that's still in billions. So that is not. It doesn't make sense.
Oh, well, all right.
And we have the president as the minister of.
He had to put it out there. It's a fact. He had to put out the fact there. One day we go to you, Dangote Cement, over to the private sector. Dangote Cement has opened up a 150 billion commercial paper issuance. What's going on with Dangote Cement? Why is Mr. Dangote doing this for the company? What's happening?
No, I think first of all they'll start with the 50 billion.
Okay, and over the next few years,
next few years they will now issue out the many 100 billion. Interesting for me is the issuer rating.
Okay.
Which is quite better than Nigeria's one.
Right, because the company obviously is run better than Nigeria's run.
Yeah, and EBITDA, if you compare the Nigerian's operation to the rest of Africa, you see that EBITDA is around 65%, while Africa is like 15%.
You know how we are about acronyms on the show. If you throw out an acronym for our listeners, you have to break.
I'm sure.
EBITDA, earnings before interest, tax, and amortization. Thank you. Okay, all right.
But the interesting part is the fact that at least there's an avenue for investors to make some certain dividends.
Speaking of which, the minimum to buy into this commercial paper
is around 5 million.
5 million naira.
Not a lot, Rotus.
Okay, well maybe for you, Christian, it's not a lot.
We're not selling mangoes here. We're selling commercial papers.
Okay,
I felt that. That shouts in my chest.
I don't have.
You don't want a situation whereby you're getting a lot of. How would I call it?
Moms and pops.
Yes. Exactly.
Okay, so you want to make sure it's serious investors that are coming here
for bookkeeping and co.
Right. So minimum of 5 million. Anybody out there that wants to buy into the Dangote Cement's commercial paper, but of course he also mentioned it's for expanding operations.
Operations, and then the fact that other African countries like Ethiopia and co will for operational reasons.
Okay. Well, Bala, anything you wanted to add there?
Yeah, I think for investors, this is the trend that we expect in the market. Looking at the downward trend in the rates on treasury bills, you know it has given opportunities to private businesses to come out there to take advantage of the liquidity in the market. Now, around this time last year, the market was crazy about treasury bills because of the rate. Now that it's gone really low, this is the best time for. We will begin to see private businesses come out to do commercial papers, to do bonds. We've seen a couple of them, and this is likely going to be the trend going forward. Investments will now start shifting in that direction.
Okay.
I think it ties to the objective of the government to reduce the rate of crowding out of the private sector.
Right.
So if we begin to see this, what this does is it steers and strengthens the private sector proposition, and they are able to take on new projects if they're able to raise, because before, if the government was doing as high as 21% on treasury bills, and meaning if you're going to do a commercial paper, the minimum you have to do is 21% plus X, that is going to be huge, very expensive. So with this now, what we'll begin to see is you see a lot of commercial papers. I think Dangote is making a quick move, considering the fact that other guys are still going to come into the market like the MTN, and that may choke the market.
The issue that I think the big guys most likely give interest rates that are kind of lower than
T-bills, yeah?
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
You just check your risk appetite.
Aha. Benga Kamo has given us a preview for our next story that we're going to touch on. Valentine, what's Benga saying here? It says,
Benga said, so for taking India and the number of extreme poor, I think the figures are much higher than presented.
Guys, what do we think? Actually, I believe the figures because they're coming from the goalkeeper. I think it's between the World Bank goalkeepers and the Bill and Melinda Gates. Bill Gates is obsessed with removing poverty in Africa. So, guys, this is Luane. What do we think as far as the figures? It was 83 million.
Nigeria has overtaken We're now worse off
Right.
in terms of compared to India. But what is staggering for me is that India's population is higher, and
5 times higher.
and Nigeria seems to be leading the pack.
Right.
So it's,
Also, they mentioned the Democratic Republic of Congo. They said they might enter second place.
Yeah, second
And their
place.
own population is in like 70 something million. But anyway, the figures is 83 million in extreme poverty for Nigeria, 73 or 4 for India. Yeah.
you know, if you look at
87 for Nigeria.
if you,
7. Okay.
87.
Okay. 87. Okay.
if you look at it, like you see your population growth versus your GDP growth, you just see the stark reality. If you have to now just put those with their employment rates, you now see that most of all these data come out it's like it true.
Sorry.
Yeah, here's a message, a quick message in from YouTube. Olatunde Alao says, which refineries are working on? The huge loss of NNPC subsidy as the government puts it under recovery.
Sell it.
Okay,
sell
so
it,
the
yeah.
Kaduna refinery has the lowest capacity of 9%, while Warri and Port Harcourt have 9.73% and 15.4%.
So Port Harcourt is the best performer at 15.
Yes, that's correct. Warri is
my
next,
my
and
people
then
in Warri.
Kaduna is the laggard.
Warri doesn't carry last, as they say.
Cooper is probably from Warri. He's asking what the rates for Dangote paper are.
We don't. Did they release the rates?
Right now, I think it's just opening, just for market sound.
Okay.
How do we expect to change under the current MD of NNPC, who has been with the organization forever? Any real change would have been done by Kachuku, but the rest is history.
When election season, so I'm not sure anything tangible come out for now. Probably next year.
Andrew from Ajao is also asking you guys what the Dangote CPE rates are.
There's some big people out there. These guys are ready to drop 5. Andrew and Kufri, they're ready to drop 5 million to buy it. So I'm gonna give you guys. They're closing it today, right? So is it yesterday?
Yeah, today.
I'll get the today. So I'll get the information and put it out there for you guys. Remember, this is just the first tranche, so you still have opportunities to buy into this.
And Harry Manuel is here. It says, talking about asset utilization and the refineries, if you took neck deep into this estimates, NNPC uses accelerated depreciation on those assets, even when asset usage is below 50%.
So that means
as daylight fraud.
That's what he said. Valentine, how much time do we have left?
You have no time.
Okay, sorry. It's all over. The Horsemen, it's the first time we have you guys all together in months. You guys are busy gentlemen.
3 horsemen.
Exactly, the 3 horsemen. I appreciate you guys coming in. Wane, Bolarinwa, and Christian. And guys, thank you so much for your messages as well. We appreciate it.
If you missed out on any bit on Business Express, go to YouTube. That's youtube.com/smooth. Keep it here. Smooth breakfast.
Business Express.